We hope that you all are prepared for this episode because, Sharon, Mike is not here to butt in with us on this episode.
I know, I kind of miss him though.
I know. So it's going to be an all-girls day because we have an awesome guest with us with over 16 years of photography experience. Sharon, I know this has been a hot topic, but she's also going to touch on this other, I don't want to call it a side thing. I don't want to put words in your mouth. A venture.
New direction.
New direction. There's the right word. Okay, Misty, share with our guest who you are, a little bit about your background. Sharon, I know we have a list of questions that we're just ready to.
I'm so excited for this because I always tell my couples, the only thing that becomes more valuable after your wedding are your photos. I think it's your biggest hire. I've always said that. I think it's
memories for a lifetime.
Well, and they're so personal. You have to really choose someone that you like their style. You're going to work really closely with that person, so someone that you click with. So I'm super excited to have Misty on because I know she has the experience to give us some really good pointers, and I've got my little notepad out because I know I'm going to learn some things.
And
so
I'm
really
interested
ready to go.
dive into this new direction thing too. All right, Misty, you go. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Misty Enright with Misty Enright Photography, and I have a studio, not too far from here, outside in Oldham County, which is right outside of Louisville. I've been shooting weddings, like Kristina said, for 16 years.
That's amazing.
I'm a lot older than I look, and my grays show because it's October and it's wedding season, so there you go.
Is this a good time to plug that if they don't want to just listen, that they can go and watch the video on YouTube?
Yeah. Try to avoid the glare that my grays show, I think.
But like Misty said, it is wedding season, and we are all a little frumpy, so if you want to just listen, that's okay.
Sharon's my favorite. So yeah, I shoot weddings all over the U.S. Here locally. I travel a ton for weddings, and we moved here about 7 years ago, and I was already established in Connecticut, and I kind of travel back there and do things there too. I was just there this weekend, actually, so that was, I'm tired and worn out. But yes, this new direction, I'm starting, to transition into more studio work and doing boudoir, which is something that I've shot for years and years and years. But when I moved here to Kentucky, I was so busy with weddings and with other things that I just really didn't have time to focus on it. So I'm really excited to be circling back. It's a full circle moment for me.
I love that. I've had a few of my brides that actually did a boudoir shoot, and they gave that album as a gift to the groom on wedding day.
Yes.
And I always tell them, honey, while you're young and look that good, get some pictures. Like, it's not going to stay that way forever. But when I was talking to you, I learned that it's not just young girls that are doing this. It's all kinds of, all ages and sizes.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah, it's more about women empowerment for me. I'm older now, like we talked about my gray hair. I'm older now, so it's more about empowering you. And, like a lot of my clients, I think I told you, are in their late 30s, up to mid 40s. They're moms. Their kids are grown, and they just kind of lost their mojo. So this is like a way to pamper them without, with hair and makeup, and then, wardrobe, and, everybody has the right to feel like a supermodel in their life, and they don't have to be,
yes.
They don't have to be a size 0 to do it. I have 16 years of lighting and posing that I can make everyone have that experience and they enjoy it. And, everyone's nervous when they come in, and then when they leave, they're practically walking around in their underwear. No.
That's what I was going to ask. I think sometimes when people hear that word boudoir,
right,
there are different types or different styles.
Yes.
What is the terminology there?
Yeah, different styles. I'm more of a fashion-driven boudoir shooter. I want to win. I want the fan going. I want it to blow in your hair. I want you to bring, and I like to start with the most dressed that you're going to be first, and then we can move on
as they get more comfortable.
Right.
Too. Yeah.
So that way we can shoot a really classy, high fashion style portrait, kind of like you would see. I'm very inspired by Vogue. I'm very inspired by all those fashion magazines, and doing studio work that's dramatic, black and white, sexy. Like I said, I help style, so I have a ton of questions to ask them, like what their definition of sexy is. Who knows? Everybody's definition is different. It could be a broad panty set. It could also be like a white t-shirt. It could be your favorite band t-shirt. It could be something that belongs to your husband.
It does not have to be lingerie or bra and underwear.
What makes you feel beautiful.
Right. And whatever makes you feel beautiful, that's going to make you look beautiful. And then I'm going to capture you at your most beautiful. So,
Sharon, yes, I'm hearing the word pajamas in there.
I did have a woman who did sweatpants, but sexy sweatpants.
I have a totally not wedding related, so I won't take up a lot of time on it, but I have a really good friend that I worked with when I was in healthcare. I worked with her for like 30 years. She's my age. Her husband got deployed a few years ago. He was active duty military, got deployed, and she was probably 46, 47, we're the same age when she did this. And she went and did a boudoir shoot, and I was like, you are crazy. And then she brought the pictures in and showed them to us, and I was blown away. She wore like one of his camo jackets. Yeah. She wore his dog tags.
Awesome.
And she sent that to him overseas. Yeah. And I just thought that was the coolest.
Personalized.
Gift. Well, and she looked absolutely beautiful.
I gotta tell you, can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
And don't tell anybody. Okay. So we won't broadcast this. No, I'm just kidding. So I don't think it's fair that I show women or tell women, I don't feel like I have the authority to do those things unless I've gone through the experience myself, right?
Right.
So this weekend, while I was in Connecticut, a friend shot my boudoir, and I'd never done it before.
Were you comfortable?
Really good friend. I have 2 kids, so, there's always little things that you think about that's, like, do I really want this or do I really want that? It was awesome. It was very empowering.
And did you feel more comfortable kind of as you went along, like you talked about others?
Yes. So I definitely brought outfits that I thought my client would bring, my typical, average client. And she was like, nope, not feeling that, not feeling that. So we kind of got it pared down to something that she had a vision for, because that's what we do as photographers. She had already had a vision of how she wanted to do this.
Sure.
And so I got hair and makeup done, and then we got started, and she played some really awesome music, and we were dancing around, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot
very
of fun.
empowering. I like how you said
very empowering. I told her, I tell my clients all the time, it's like, no, you're beautiful. Every part of you is beautiful. Because, they'll be like, oh, I hate my arms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, every part of you is beautiful. Let me show you how to pose it. But I did the same thing. I came out and I was like, well, I don't really like this part right here. Yeah, could you not shoot this? Like,
Can it be from like chest up?
Right.
Every time we do a video for the podcast, I tell Kristina, chest up, chest up.
She doesn't use that word, but we'll leave out the word that she does use.
Right. Yes. And her questions were so cool, and it kind of will change the way that I talk to my clients, because instead of saying, what do you want me to avoid? She said, what do you want me to enhance? And I was like, well, I really like my shoulders. It just kind of made me think in a different way about my body.
Even with bridesmaids, I always tell my brides when they're looking at dresses and stuff, a confident woman, a woman who feels like she looks good, will take a better picture.
Absolutely.
I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. I mean, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't think it was fair to keep moving on this trajectory without having done it. And I mean, I'm super excited to see him. I'm sure I'm going to be like,
I bet
I will. Yeah. I mean, her makeup artist was super talented. I just hired somebody to work for me that I'm really excited about. So, I mean, this is something that I felt pampered from start to finish.
What a unique experience.
Yeah.
So, because we always talk about this podcast is for those that are, engaged, planning their special day into married life. Mm-hmm. And I think from hearing what has already been discussed, this could be something that you did as an engagement gift to your significant other, but also your first anniversary, your 5th anniversary,
your maternity session.
Yes.
So boudoir maternity sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Pregnant women are gorgeous.
No, I hadn't even thought about that, but yes, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, so, taking the shape of your, body and doing things, we're not talking Demi Moore on the
Right.
for Vanity Fair or anything.
But she
we
looked
could,
good.
but she looked awesome. Oh my
Right.
gosh. But we could be talking about
Right.
that, But, I was at a time when I was pregnant with my first that I didn't really want to do maternity photos because you just feel gross,
Uh-huh.
But my friend who's a photographer, she was like, you have to. You have to have that record. You're at your most beautiful. You're glowing. And we just I was in a sports bra and, like leggings,
Uh-huh.
and my belly hung out. It wasn't revealing at all, but it was comfortable. I was comfortable. It was a really great thing. But if we take that a step forward and put this boudoir angle on it, then you could have these beautiful photos in robes, just like you see these beautiful photos of pregnant women out in fields and in these flowy dresses. Well, we can take that into the studio as well. So, this is an anniversary gift. This is an engagement gift. This is a maternity. This is all things for all people.
Well, the other thing I think when you mention maternity, that is something that your significant other can gift to you.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're the one, I'm going to go and do this for my significant other. Your significant other can encourage you to embrace this time and celebrate you and be pampered.
Well, and actually, I tell all my clients, and it's even on my website, that this is not a gift for your fiance, for your partner. This is a gift for you. This is something to help you to get your mojo back, or to enhance your mojo, or to help you feel your most beautiful, or to remind you what sexy is. Because like you said, sexy isn't just bra and underwear. We just were home for how many months and months. Sexy for, me was me wearing my husband's sport team t-shirt after wearing my own sport team t-shirt for so many months straight. And then he looks over and he's like, whoa. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be, your preconceived notion doesn't exist here. So
you're embracing your own version of sexy.
That's
and
right.
I think that is so important.
And it's sassy. If you look through the pages of a fashion magazine, they're sassy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, these aren't like demure, and these aren't dominatrixes either. This is somewhere in between where it's like, this is me, this is my body, I own this, this is mine, and you can't take it from me.
And what I am is perfect.
And what I am is perfect,
yes.
and I don't need to lose 10, because obviously as a photographer, I hear all the time that people are saying, well, I'll do that, but I have to lose 10 pounds first. No, you don't. You're beautiful.
I hear that as a planner all the time.
Sure.
And I'm like, why don't you have a dress? They always say, I'm waiting to lose weight. And I'm like,
please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that. You are beautiful the way you are.
Right.
And we want to capture you the way that you are. Enhanced.
Right.
Without
I'm
retouching.
so excited about this topic because I mentioned before we started recording, I don't think that this is necessarily discussed enough. I think people have, from their parents, from their this, from their that, in their mind, this preconceived notion of what that means, like no clothes on.
Right.
I can remember, hopefully my mom won't listen to this episode, but I can remember back in the day, she did something similar. My family's involved in racing, and she wore my dad's race uniform.
Oh, nice.
And they were what I had in my mind that she had went and done. And I'm not going to say when this was, many years ago. But I was thinking, oh my God, like really? But then, like, she felt comfortable enough that the photos were in a fold down book type thing. There were several different ones. That it didn't sit out in the kitchen or the living room.
Right.
But it sat out in their bedroom. But they were very tasteful, something that would mean a lot, not only to her, because how involved she was in racing, but also, to my dad. And I think it was an anniversary gift, I believe, but I can remember talking about how much fun she actually had. And you're talking, honestly, 20 plus years ago.
Sure.
And that just stood out to me I think she was nervous going into it back then. But she was really glad that she had done it.
Sure.
I think
I don't know if she'll like that I've shared that, but
I think too that the message that it sends. I know. I mean, I'm 53 years old, and I have struggled with my weight my entire life. It's not a secret. I'm very open about it now. But for years and years, I really struggled with self-confidence and, feeling as good as the next person in the room because of my weight. And I think now, when I think back to when I was a teenager and going through all of that stuff, I think now it's so much worse because of social media.
Of course.
I have a 15-year-old granddaughter, and Instagram is life to kids that age. So I think just something to give girls and women the message that they are perfect, they are beautiful, they are fierce. I love it.
To embrace themselves.
I absolutely love it.
And this also leads into the other program that I do, which is for tweens. And it's the same idea of empowerment. No hair, no makeup, them in their favorite outfit, just a couple of studio shots as they are. And we talk about how they can pose for selfies and how they can, lift each other up and things like that. So this doesn't have to be, this is about a beauty portrait as you are. This isn't, like we said 100 times.
It doesn't have to be a glam squad.
This is not a glam squad.
Right.
Right. So, we can do this with tweens and teens, and then we can do this with women who aren't
so cool.
the perfect, model size, sample size, or anything like that. The makeup can range from avant-garde and heavy and glam to supernatural and just, some lip gloss and some, some pink in the cheeks. Like, it doesn't have to be anything.
I love that you offer that. I didn't know that you did.
Yeah.
Because, I have 2 boys, but having a granddaughter that's a teenager, when her friends come over, it's all Instagram, and my toes are ugly, I'm too fat, I'm too tall, I'm too skinny, I hear them criticizing, and, I've been known as the weird grandma that'll just go down and bust the whole thing out because I can't stand that's their self-talk.
But they're also getting that from the other female,
100%.
Role models in their lives. So if we can start by empowering women to see themselves as beautiful and lovely and as you are. What was that in Bridget Jones's Diary? He loved her as she was or something. That's always stuck with me. To be loved for who you are at that moment. Sure, I was thinner when I got married. I got married, 15 years ago. Of course, I was thinner then. But this is the body that gave me my 2 babies, So if I do lose weight in the future, great. But I want pictures to reflect this body that gave me my babies, that was hard work. You know what I mean? So it's all things to all people, but it can be the same experience no matter who you are, from preteen, all the way up.
That's amazing.
The other thing I would just quickly mention, and I know that there were people that came around before her, but Ashley Graham, I felt like really opened up a whole different level of conversation.
Sure.
And, right now I believe she's pregnant, and I think it's come out with twins.
Oh, is she? Yeah.
I believe so. I don't want to misquote.
Yeah.
But, and now that I'm saying that, but I watched an interview with her, and on social media, what were the top questions do you think that she got asked?
Oh, I can imagine.
You know what I mean? All about what are you going to do to get the weight back up?
Right.
And it was just like, wait, she's pregnant. Congratulations.
Right. Her
How
enjoy being
exciting.
Right.
But she's one that will fire right back. And I really think that, and I know there's been others, not just trying to single her out, but that one comes to the top of my mind because a lot of times when she talks, it is about embracing who you are.
And one of the things that she does that I hear or see her do that other, supermodels with the same power or stature or whatever doesn't do, she calls out designers for not having, not even plus size, models, just models of different shapes and sizes and colors and all those things. She does a great job of saying, hey, you I was at your show, and your show was not very
There was nothing there that I could have worn.
Right,
Yeah.
it's not very representative of the world that we live in. So, I think she does a really
girls
great job
need
of
to
that.
see more of that. Young
They
girls need
really
to see
do.
more.
Not
of that.
everybody is a size 2 hourglass figure.
No,
And for how long growing up,
right,
I can remember that's all you saw.
yeah,
Any time there was any kind of print, any kind of thing on the internet or television, it was, quote, the perfect body.
right,
At that time, I feel like that's what was pushed out there. You are under a size 4 and it is an hourglass figure, and that's just how it is.
right.
So, and I did look it up, just by the way, she is pregnant, and I didn't know it was boys, but she's pregnant with twin boys. So,
Very nice background.
And I
Be a very busy woman.
yes. Well, and I just think that in the time where we're at with social media, with appearance, with people about pregnancy, and, I feel like a lot of times I hear people so trying to get back to their pregnancy weight.
Right.
What a great role model. I feel like her journey, I'm sure she will share it out there and will empower others not to get so hung up
Right.
on the number on that scale, but to just embrace the time and enjoy it. And I'm sure there's plenty others out there that do that, but I know she will be active and vocal
Right.
about her journey and not allowing people to push her
Right.
into a certain direction that she doesn't want to go.
And that's why this whole campaign is so important. It's a local thing. Like, when I first moved here, I had been doing weddings for a long time in Connecticut, and we moved here. I'm from Kentucky. I'm an Eastern Kentucky girl. We moved here in 2013, and that's something that I wanted to do full time. I kind of wanted to, ease off weddings since I had a small child and do more of this, because I saw how fun it was and how, much women enjoyed it. And at the time I was only shooting brides to be, as a gift for their fiance. And I hit some resistance both from my, support system and from, friends who didn't understand. And then from the community when I tried to promote it, just some real negativity. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe we're not ready to celebrate ourselves.
Again, hung up on that word.
Right.
Boudoir.
Right. I don't even have a bed in my studio.
But that's awesome to share, though, because some people have no idea
Right.
what they're walking into,
Right.
or what the studio they're going into.
Right. It's a big, open, beautiful room full of light. And there's some chairs and stools, and we sit and we stand and we pose, and it's so super fun. And we're changing the light up. We're doing natural light. We're doing silhouettes. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful things that happen, but it's kind of the opposite of what you imagine.
I like that what you've said about empowerment sessions. That, to me, embraces more of what you're talking about.
Right.
Because I think people's mind, when you just hear boudoir,
Right.
they think lingerie or no clothes.
Right. It's hard because when you're trying to, and as a marketing person, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, as somebody who's trying to do something different and break your old identity and kind of like launch into something forward, I would rather call them sassy, sexy, badass portraits for real women.
Fierce photos or something.
But you have to say boudoir in order for it to catch with people. And then you say boudoir and you're like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Right.
Listen.
Photos.
Listen to the whole conversation.
Photos are your best friends.
Right.
Because you cannot necessarily market your style with one word.
Right.
You can't.
Right. You can't.
People seeing those photos on your social media, on your website, that is what really drives home from a marketing standpoint, because it's not really just labeled one thing or another. Just like you just said,
Right.
sexy, fierce, all those things. I did not
Sassy,
hear you
yeah.
say boudoir at all until you're like, well, you kind of have to tell them. But in all honesty, like you said, they can come in sweatpants
Right.
or a sports bra, or
Yeah.
they can be younger, they can be older, they can be
Right.
pregnant. You're really incorporating anyone and everyone, and that's the message.
Right. I mean, on my website, they're called Real Women Sessions. and you see
I love that.
the picture that's on my website to show it is a picture of a woman who is fully dressed. And it's sassy, and it's high fashion, and it's dramatic, and it's in black and white, and it is totally 100% my style. And then from there, then as you scroll, then you get like some sexier things, but that is...
But it goes back to what you said. The client that is there with you, it's up to their...
Exactly.
What they want
right.
to share, how much they want to take off, what their level of comfort
right.
is.
And for that, there's no wrong answer. There is no wrong answer. What you say, Sharon, is your definition of sexy may not be my definition of sexy. But you're not wrong, and I'm not wrong, and Christine, yours might be different than both of ours, but you're not wrong. Yeah, everyone is different. And I can't say that I've never shot someone who was practically, like in nothing at all, because that has happened too, but I think it was more surprising to me than anybody, because when we had talked about a very different session, and then all of a sudden she comes out of the bathroom and she was like, hello. But that's okay too. She wasn't wrong.
Right.
And I gotta say, like, that's okay too. But that's not what I'm, I feel like when you start advertising that way or marketing in that direction, you miss the real women, right? You miss the women that are like...
I mean, I'm going to be really honest. When I hear the word boudoir, that scares me. Like, I would feel like intimidated to do that. Because I wouldn't really know... had I not sat here and had this conversation with you,
of course,
when I heard that word, I wouldn't think of what you were describing.
Layers of clothes that you can have on or not have on. Oh, she doesn't have a bed. She has chairs and stools, and you can stand to take some of all you have in your mind is maybe other things you've seen out there or things you've heard from other people.
Right. I had a woman who did a boudoir session, and it was an anniversary gift. So it was after they were already married. I did their engagement photos. Their wedding photos, and then, and I'm still working with them. They have kids now, but I did this boudoir as an anniversary gift, and she wore, her husband's a huge Cincinnati Reds fan. They went to UC, big Cincinnati Reds fan. They take off work every year. They go, she wore his Reds jersey, and I don't know what player, but it was bright red, and she's a brunette.
And it's sharp.
It's sharp. And it's stark, and she's fully dressed. And there's a picture of her with her hands like on the buttons, and she's buttoning it. And I had zoomed in on her hands, and that's one of my favorite pictures. And it's sexy, but she's fully clothed. Her face isn't in it. She, it's totally anonymous, and she's buttoning it, not unbuttoning it. If that makes sense. And it is really, it's a beautiful portrait. And she framed that and she put it in her bathroom. At the time, I don't know if it's still there, but.
I love it.
And I think this is one of those things that whenever you're branching out or going off in a little different direction,
right?
It's a little tricky because, you've been known in this field for so long and you're kind of going out into this field. But now talking to you, I can tell you are very passionate about this.
Extremely passionate about this.
I can tell, yes. Because you've completely switched from when we were talking about some photography tips about your wedding photography. But that to me is what makes it so incredible about having this conversation, is because you're truly passionate about what you're doing and making a difference for people.
Right.
Because this not only affects them, it affects you.
Sure.
Well, what a compliment to you that ladies feel so comfortable with you.
Right.
Yes, because that would...
And it's not easy, and you have nervous jitters, and I have nervous jitters, when they come in, it's like, but we're going to laugh our way through it too.
Sure.
We're going to do something, and I always say, if you feel awkward, tell me, but we're going to do it anyway.
I love that.
Tell me that you feel awkward. But we're going to keep going and it'll be okay.
Wait, we're talking about communication is key again in another episode. We tend to bring that up a lot, don't we?
Yes.
It's pretty much key to everything.
But then just expressing where they're at, how they're feeling.
Right.
That can help you with making it a whole better session for them.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to be connected to the camera looking directly into the lens every minute. You can be looking away, you could be laughing, you could be rolling your eyes at me. That's fine too. Like, that's all part of the natural expressions and who you are. And, you know, like I said, if it takes a couple of bad jokes to get you warmed up, then that's, I'm going to do that too.
Well, here's what I think I've learned going through this whole episode is everyone should experience this at some point in time in their life.
I think so.
Everyone should.
I just did.
Well, and what a great thing to come back and going through it, and then you've just experienced the whole thing. You know how a person's feeling or what they could be
Well,
going
our
through.
listeners didn't get to hear Misty's story. So you actually did. You wanted to know what your clients were.
Yeah, she did at the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
We talked about so much before we started, but she was like, hey, don't share this with anybody.
No, I was just, I was totally kidding.
Oh, we were recording. It's in here. Yes. But I thought that's great that she shared that because she went and lived that experience.
We talked so much before we started I thought she told me that before we started.
That's all right.
Are you okay, Sharon? I know it's wedding season.
I need a Coke Zero.
You need a Coke Zero. Okay. Can you believe that we've been talking about this for 30 minutes?
Oh my gosh, already.
So, here's what we're going to do. How about we have you back on to talk about some photography tips
Sure.
For weddings.
Another episode. Wedding photography tips. Because you have so much experience, and I know you've got a lot of tips that we can pull from because we were hammering away the questions at you before we started.
Right, yeah.
But I think this has been so great. I think this is going to be impactful for those that listen and want to do it as a gift, want to do it for empowerment, their mojo back, like you said. I think this is a whole different topic than we've ever talked about, and that's why I felt like it was so important to just keep going with this.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those that want to connect with you, will you share with them your website or about how they can connect with you? Do you want them to connect on social media?
Sure. It's the website is Book with Misty Enright /boudoir. And you can go there. And then on Instagram, it's Boudoir by Misty. So that's kind of getting built out right now.
So you're keeping that separate than your wedding stuff. Very smart.
So I'm keeping it separate because, like I said, I shoot tweens and teens. And so I don't want them to see something that maybe they won't understand.
Gotcha.
Not that there's anything there that they couldn't see because they're going to get whatever on Instagram anyway.
Right.
But I want to keep them separate so that, you know, the moms feel comfortable that, again, there's no beds in my studio.
Right.
Yes.
They're not, you know, because the tween experience with this empowerment and the women experience with this empowerment, they're two totally different sessions, they are the same ideas. So, but keeping them separate is important. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so make sure you can connect up with Misty on social media. Check out her website, and the links, of course, will be in the show notes. And make sure that you tune in to hear some tips about photography because she has a lot of information to share on another episode. So until next time, everyone stay safe. I know that you probably didn't miss Michael not being here at all.
It was probably better that we talked about this without him, right?
Oh, no, he would have chimed right in.
all about it.
Trust me. I won't tell you what he would have added. Sharon can tell you about that when we're done recording. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If you like what you're hearing, take a few minutes to go to your favorite podcast platform and make sure you write us a
glowing 5-star review.
Yep. Thank you all so much. Until next time, see ya.